Hello everybody and welcome to Legal Concepts, educational videos for the study of law. Today we're going to look at the very important case of Adams and Lindsell, 1818. So this case you're going to focus on when you're studying offer and acceptance. And the question as to when acceptance occurs is very important because you might have an issue to do with communication through post. So Adams and Lindsell is the leading authority on something called the Postal Rule. And the Postal Rule is to analyse and establish when acceptance occurs when people are communicating through the post and sending letters. Okay everyone, so what we're going to be looking at now is the facts of the case of Adams and Lindsell. So in your studies, you'll come across Adams and Lindsell when you are learning about the very first stages of contract formation, so offer and acceptance. And Adams and Lindsell is the leading authority which establishes something called the Postal Rule. And I'm going to tell you now that the Postal Rule is an exception to the general rules of acceptance and communication. So let's have a little look at the facts of the case and then we'll dive deeper into the legal principle. So Adams and Lindsell concerns the sale of sheep wool. Now, the defendants had wrote to the claimants offering to sell them a quantity of sheep fleeces or sheep wool. And in their communication, their letter, they state that they need an answer from the claimants as to their acceptance, and they stated in the course of post. Now, when the defendants are writing this letter, unfortunately, they didn't put the correct address to the claimants. So the letter didn't actually reach the claimants until a few days later than anticipated. So the defendants write to the claimants on the 2nd, and the letter with the offer in it doesn't reach them until the 5th. Now, because the defendants had an expectation to receive a quicker reply, they actually sold those sheep fleeces or the wool to a third party on the 8th. Now, on the 9th, the following day after they had sold it, they'd actually received a letter accepting their offer from the claimants. So the question was there a contract between the claimants and defendants? And therefore, was the defendants in breach of their contract by selling it to a third party? So this was the question that was presented to the court. Therefore, when the court are analysing the timeline of events, they conclude that the contract was completed on the 5th. So when the claimants received the offer and they sent the letter of acceptance on the 5th, the contract was completed at this point on the 5th, not when the defendants received the letter of acceptance on the 9th. Now, if they had received the letter of acceptance on the 9th, then they wouldn't have been in breach of the agreement and it would have been fine for them to sell the wool to a third party. So what do you take from this case? So Adams and Lindsell, always remember, is the leading authority or the case which lays down the principle that when we're looking at accepting an offer through the post, acceptance occurs the moment the letter is posted, not when the letter is received. So this is an exception to the general rules of acceptance in which it must be communicated. So always remember that the postal rule is linked to the case of Adams and Lindsell. It's an exception. An acceptance happens the moment the letter is posted, not when the letter is received. I would recommend that you note this down and make it very clear that it is an exception and not the general principle. And you may find yourself presented with problem scenarios where there's different types of communication happening between the parties. So you might have a letter, you might have an email, you might have a telephone call. You want to be able to break down those different types of communication. The most important thing to always remember and always to apply is that if you are looking at a letter accepting an offer, then you must use the case of Adams and Lindsell. And there are other cases which develop the legal principle further. So this is the foundation case, and in the notes for this video, I will note down the other cases that you need to be looking at. Thank you for listening to this video, and I really do hope that you subscribe. The more subscribers, the more videos that I can make, and if you like this video, please like it, of course, too. Please share the channel with your friends and who else you're studying with, and I really hope that it helps you tackle problem scenarios and get into grips with learning all the different cases for your studies and that you are successful. Thank you very much. Bye.